Hello! What you can see here is my Asus motherboard with a fried BIOS chip. Yes! No. Approximately 4 out of 10 it starts normally and works for a day. Then, for some reason I don't know, the next day it is completely dead. It's a motherboard issue because everything else was tested and is fine. Because of the limited space that I have nowadays, these racks and stuff, dual monitors and a pile of machines. So I needed a workbench, and it will be my good old Electrolux deep freezer. This fridge feels a little bit itchy when I touch it, so to avoid static electricity problems, I added some rubber pads on the top. No touch, no damage, I guess. So here is my old Asus board. Back in its time it was very fast. Quite a big leap compared to my older MSI machine. The FX 6300 was a very good processor, I think, and a great value for the money. Back in time when it was my production machine, it was my most favorite ever. Since the arrival of the first multi-core processors, mixing everything in the machine became a reality. My first multi-core system was a Phenom X3. After an SSD upgrade, it was absolutely capable of mixing and recording a whole album in one single session. But even if it functioned well, this machine in the picture was just like another level. The data transfer and processing and all the snappiness was awesome, so my mood was not when this motherboard failed. And at this point the CPU stuck. So after studying and trying all the techniques to remove this beast and everything failed, I made a very hard decision and I just ripped it out. I wouldn't recommend it. Please don't do it. The CPU and the cooler felt to be glued together. It was very hard to separate them, and at this point I had no idea if the CPU survived this very hard stretch or not. The rest was easy. Simple screwdriver job. Well, memories. This M5A97 Evo Revision 2 Asus board was great. Sadly, after replacing the old fried BIOS chip, the new one fried as well. So something else is going wrong here besides the BIOS chip. Unfortunately, I don't have enough knowledge to be able to fix this board, but maybe I can find someone who can. So the case is empty. Now it's time for some dirty job. I love alcohol. It's my favorite cleaning fluid. It can remove most of things I don't like. For example, this glue-like cooling solution. Fortunately, it started to dissolve this material in seconds. I've heard that people use a lot of stuff to clean the CPUs when it comes to that, just like soft drinks or beer. I don't know. I would rather clean my insides with apple juice or cherry coke or Windex. Yeah, Windex is definitely it. Never mind. So, as you can see, alcohol is a great cleaning fluid. And it's one of my most favorite liquids. Not because of drinking, but it spared a lot of time when I cleaned stuff. Just like this AMD FX 6300. The pins seem to be okay, but I still had no idea if this processor works or not. But sure, it was clean, ready to mount, and the pins weren't missing, they just needed a little adjustment. So, it is almost impossible to buy new AM3 boards. There are some in the used market, I just don't trust used market. So, probably it's one of the last commercially available AMD 970 motherboards. So, why is it important? Well, my fried Asus motherboard has the very same chipset, so supposedly it needs the very same drivers. So what I'm hoping to achieve is to replace the motherboard without the system noticing it. Back in my broadcast production days, I built a lot of workstations for small studios, and I built PCs using Asus, MSI and ASRock motherboards most of the time, so I was very happy when I found this 970M Pro 3 Micro ATX motherboard from ASRock. I really like simple, modest looking things that deliver. So this blackish ASRock board, they call it Sapphire Black, to make sense, was designed way before RGB madness. All I can say here is a decent amount of inputs and outputs, good quality caps, and simple and seemingly effective passive cooling system, so there's nothing not to like. And it's black, and black is metal. Seems to provide a good base for my old system. The package included some typical stuff, breakout panel and user's manual, cables, and a DVD. Man, I haven't used the DVD since I have my Steam account. So turn on and nothing. Signs of life. Signs of more life. And what? It seems to be like a Windows boot. Who dares wins? Okay, the GPU check is on. The CPU must be working. There is no error message. So CPU pins must be okay. Dude! It's on! Wow! It works! The same motherboard was recognized. That's brilliant! So, some time passed, and this PC is working pretty fine, even since. And quite fortunately, I made a userbenchmark.com test with my old Asus board just 2 days before it died. And of course, I tested my new ASRock motherboard too, and the result is quite surprising, that you can see here. So, according to the test, the ASRock 970M Pro 3 in the same environment outperformed my favorite Asus board. I must add that I'm not into overclocking whatsoever, so because of the audio production, I always make foolproof, very safe systems instead of pushed and overclocked ones. So all of these are base and optimal settings. Nothing is pushed because I need a very stable machine. So in safe settings, the ASRock 970M Pro 3 motherboard extracted more from the CPU and the memory modules. And the difference is quite substantial, I think. Especially that it's the same chipset, and the Asus was very fast already. So I'm impressed. The only thing I have to adjust or fix or something is the much lower HDD speed. The Asus handles hard drives much faster, according to this test. So some tweaking is necessary maybe. But anyway, I'm very impressed of the small ASRock board. So, that's it for today. Thanks for watching and see you somewhere in time.